everybody, my name is Chelsea, and today's class is focused on outer hips. So in yoga, particularly Vinyasa yoga, actually probably all kinds of yoga, we focus really heavily on stretching the outer hips, which is super, super nice because our hips, my hips, always feel pretty tight. We also want to make sure we are strengthening our outer hips a commensurate amount because we kind of want our joints to feel balanced. So if we're just stretching, it's not really creating a balanced system. So we want to take some time to strengthen them. So today we're going to do some overt strengthening paired with our favorite outer hip stretches. To begin, lie on your back. Bend your knees and take your feet as wide as your yoga mat. Let your knees just cave in to touch. Then hands can rest on your belly or arms can rest or on the floor by your hips. It's whatever's the most comfortable for you. Just take a few slow deep breaths here. Filling up through the chest, filling up through the sides of the ribs, and then deflating through the center. One more like that. Fill up. And then deflate all the way to center. If your hands are on your belly, take them by your sides. And then separate your knees, but keep your feet wide. Actually, reach your arms up and overhead, grab for opposite elbows if that works for you. Otherwise, you can just rest the arms anywhere that's comfortable. As you inhale, drop both knees to the right. Good. So you're in a kind of a weird twist here. Right outer hip might be on the floor. Left inner thigh is lifted away from the floor. Now with the inside of your left knee, reach a little forward. If that causes too much rotation or feelings of discomfort in your left lower back, don't do that. Good. As you inhale, come back up to center so both knees are pointing up. Exhale, take both knees to the left. Good. Let your left leg be heavy. Right shoulder blade be heavy. But then lengthen through your right inner knee. Good. Inhale, come back to center. Walk your feet in line with your hips. And then don't use your hands. Take your right outer ankle on top of your left knee. And then bring your left thigh towards your chest. Just far enough so that your left thigh is like perpendicular to the floor. Good. Flex both ankles. And with your right outer ankle, push into your left knee. Good. You're using your left knee as kind of a wall to press into, which is something we're going to do a lot of in this practice. We're going to use body parts to give our outer hips some resistance to push into. And that helps them build a little bit of strength and mobility. Good. So with your right outer ankle, push your knee. With your knee, push your right outer ankle. Good. Stay with that. Breathe in. And then as you exhale, undo it. Switch sides. Take your left outer ankle to your right knee. Draw your right knee in towards your chest, but just stop when your knee or when your shin gets about parallel to the floor, so you're not coming all the way. Flex both feet. And then with your left outer ankle, push into your right leg. And then with your right leg, push into your left outer ankle. Good. So left outer hip is getting a little bit of stretch. And then that resistance is giving a little bit of strengthening. Good. Take one more inhalation. Exhale, take your right foot to the floor. Take your left foot to the floor. Draw your knees into your chest. And then rock all the way up through a seat. And then transition onto all fours. Find a neutral spine, which means your lower belly is not dropping, but you're also not rounding your back and pushing it towards the ceiling. You're just right there in center. Keep that. Nothing else moves except reach your right leg up and back behind you. All 5 toes are going to point down towards the floor and they're going to stay that way. As you, any amount, take your right leg out to the right. So if you keep all 5 toes pointed down and your hips mostly square, you're not gonna go very far, but you're gonna feel the muscles of your right outer hip contract. And that's what we're going for. So just feel that, my leg's already shaking. Inhale, bring your right leg back. Exhale, take your right knee to the floor. Inhale, extend your left leg back, press through your heel. Both hip pointers are gonna stay facing down. All 5 toes are gonna face down. And then just take your leg to the left. That's called abduction. Now you can go really far if you rotate the foot up and press forward, but that's not what we're doing. We're just squeezing the muscles of the left outer hip, making them work. Good, come back to center, come to all fours. Step your hands a handprint forward. Inhale, press up and back, come into downward facing dog. Good, from downward facing dog, look at your feet. You should have a pretty good view of them from this pose. Turn your right heel in about 45 degrees. Bend your left knee so that you can get the whole sole of your right foot to the floor. So your right toes are pointing out at about 2 o'clock. Bend your left knee a lot so you can straighten your right leg and push yourself up and back to your left, into your left hip. Now once you get that stretch sensation in the outer hip, with your foot, grip the mat and make the action of pulling forward. Nothing's gonna move, but you're gonna feel the sensations change. Good, come back to a normal downward facing dog. Pivot your left heel in 45 degrees, foot to the floor, bend your right knee. Good, as you push up and back into your left outer hip, grip the mat with your left foot and try to drag it towards your right hand. Good, inhale there. Exhale, come back to downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale, lower your knees, lower your hips, belly down, all the way to the floor. Airplane your arms behind you, palms face down. Inhale, lift your shoulders, your arms, your legs, locust pose. Good, stay here, reach through the necks of your toes and the crown of your head. Exhale, lower down, hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale, press up to all fours. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale and down dog, lift your hips high. Exhale, walk your feet to meet your hands at the front of your mat. Fold forward. Inhale, hands to shins, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms, reach up. Exhale, pull your hands to heart center. Some simple sun salutations just to establish a steady, rhythmic breath. Arms by your sides. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, hinge forward and fold. Inhale, lift up halfway, flatten your back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, all the way up. Reach through your ring fingers. Exhale, hands to heart center. Now adding on to some simple lunges. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, plant your hands and step your right foot back. Keep your right fingertips to the floor. Inhale, pull your chest forward, engage your back leg all the way. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale, lower to the floor, hug your elbows in as you descend. Airplane your arms behind you. Inhale, lift everything up, locust pose. Exhale, lower down, hands under your shoulders. Inhale, press up to all fours or plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg up, lead with your heel. Exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Inhale, pull your chest towards the front of your mat, reach your left heel back. Exhale, step forward and fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold into your legs. Inhale, rise, drive your heels into the mat. Exhale, hands to heart center. One more like that. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, chest up, thigh bones back. Exhale, plant your hands and step your left foot to the back of your mat. Inhale, use your fingertips to pull your chest forward. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale, lower your knees, lower everything else. Inhale, cobra pose this time. Lift your chest, hug your elbows in. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, step your left foot between your hands. Inhale, pull your chest forward as you drive your back heel back. Exhale, step forward and fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale all the way up. Use your legs to push the ground away. Exhale, hands to heart. Step your feet together or feet as wide as your hips. It depends on your body. Bend your knees. Sit your hips back, come into chair pose. If your feet are together, let your knees be together. If your feet are as wide as your hips, separate your knees. So your knees and shins follow what your feet are doing. Either keep your hands at heart center, or inhale, reach your arms up. Get heavy in your sitting bones and get heavy in your heels. Now as you drive your heels down, also make the action of trying to pull your heels apart. And while nothing's gonna actually move in space, it's gonna change how the muscles respond. You're gonna feel it. Good, take one more inhalation. Exhale, straighten your legs and fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg up. Exhale, step your right foot halfway to the front of your mat and turn your toes off the mat. So your right heel is going to be on the right edge of your mat, toes are going to be turned off. Okay, it's kind of a weird shape. Turn your left, rotate your left hand a little bit to the left, come onto the pinky toe side of your back foot and bring your right hand to your right hip. Okay. So with your left arm, push the ground away, lift your hips. With your right foot, press into the floor, and almost like your right foot is like a hand, make the action of turning it clockwise. You're gonna feel that in the right outer hip. Now, one more thing. With your right hand, hold the outside of your right knee and push your right knee into your hand. So you're gonna feel that a lot in the right outer hip. Take one more breath into it. And then exhale, both hands to the floor. Inhale, lift your right leg up and back. Exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Spin your left heel down. And then come on up into warrior two. Good, pause for a moment. With your feet pressed down. And make the action of making your yoga mat longer. And depending on your yoga mat, you might actually be able to stretch it. Can you remember what it felt like to have your hand outside of your knee? Recreate that feeling. Press your right knee into your hand if it's not there. Or I like to sometimes imagine there's a wall that I'm pressing into. And then tuck your right sitting bone behind your right knee. Good, stay there, breathe in. And then exhale, hands to hips, straighten your right leg. Turn your chest a little towards the front leg. Inhale, tilt forward. Take your right hand either to a block or to your shin or to the floor. And then reach your left arm up, triangle pose. Good, with your right big toe push down. With your right outer hip, suck back. Good, take one more inhalation. Exhale, take both hands down. Step back to downward facing dog. Good, inhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale, lower your knees, lower everything else. Inhale, little locust pose, cobra pose, lift your chest. Exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, step your left foot half the distance to your left hand, turn your toes off your mat. Come onto the outside of your right foot, left hand to hip, turn your chest towards your bent knee. All right, with everything that's touching the floor, push so that you can lift your hips. With your left foot, grip the ground, make the action of turning your foot counterclockwise. Now your foot's not actually gonna turn counterclockwise because you're pressing into the floor. With your left hand, hold the outside of your left foot and use it as resistance. Push into your hand. Stretchy hips are not as helpful as mobile hips. So we want strength and flexibility. Good, let that go. Take your hands down. Inhale, step your left leg up and back. Exhale, step your left foot between your hands. Spin your right heel down. Inhale, come on up. Warrior two. Good, both feet are actively pressing down, but take your attention to the front foot. Make that same action of trying to turn it counterclockwise and press your left knee into an imaginary wall. Good, stay with that, breathe in. Exhale, hands to hips, straighten your front leg. Rotate a little bit towards your front leg. Then as you inhale, just tilt forward until you're about parallel to the floor. Post up on something with your left hand, a shin or a block, and then spin your chest towards the ceiling. Reach your right arm up. Good, that whole front leg is trying to spiral counterclockwise. Good, breathe in here. Exhale, hands down, downward facing dog. Inhale and down dog. Exhale, walk your feet to meet your hands, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Step your feet together or take them as wide as your hips. Inhale, bend your knees, reach your arms up, come into chair pose. Exhale, straighten your legs, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to downward facing dog. Inhale and down dog, lift your right leg up. Exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Spin your left heel down. Inhale, rise, warrior two. Take your right arm under your left arm. Wrap your forearms around each other, take the palms of your hands to touch. If this bind doesn't work for your body, bring the pinky sides of your palms and your forearms together like this and squeeze in. If you have the bind, you don't have to actually work as hard to create some stretch. The other variation is a little bit active. It's going to build a little bit more strength. If your arms are bound, take both forearms to the left, so away from your front leg. Take your right ear to the right. Good, stay with that, breathe in. Exhale, unwind your arms, reach them wide, warrior two. And then take your right hand, or shorten up your stride, bring your back foot a little forward. Take your right hand about a foot in front of your right pinky toe. I like to use a block. Inhale, lean into your right foot. And then as you exhale, lift your left leg up, half moon pose. You can keep your left hand on your hip or reach your left arm up. Chest will turn any amount towards the left side. Left leg is super active, so drive through the heel, try to lift to engage the left outer hip muscles. Stay with that, breathe in. Now to land back into warrior two, left hand comes to your hip. You've got to bend your right knee and lean forward so that that back heel lands without like a big clump. Inhale here. Exhale, hands down, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg. Exhale, step it through. Spin your back heel down. Inhale, rise, warrior two. Once you get your feet, your hips, your legs sorted, take your left arm under your right arm, find an eagle bind. Now as your feet press down and spread apart, your forearms squeeze in and lift up. And then you can stay here or take both forearms, press them to the right, take your left ear to the left. Shoulders, neck, not the focal point of today's class, but always nice to touch into. Good, bring everything back to center. Inhale, reach your arms. Exhale, right hand to hip, shorten up your stride. If you're using a block, set your block a foot in front of your left foot. Inhale, lean into your left foot. Exhale, lift your right leg up. If you are going to rotate, rotate from the shoulders, not from the hips. And then right hand can either stay where it is or reach up, half moon pose. Remember what it felt like to have your hand outside of your knee. Imagine it's there and press into it. Lift your back leg as high as you need to lift it to feel the right outer hips kick on. Good, stay with that, breathe in. Land it as you breathe out. So bend your left knee, lean forward, and that's what sets your foot down. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good, inhale and downward facing dog. Exhale, walk your feet to meet your hands. Fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms, reach up. Exhale, pull your hands to heart center. Step your feet together. Inhale, lift your right knee up towards your chest. And then take your right outer ankle on top of your left thigh. So similar to that pose that we started in. Bend your left knee and sit low into your hips. And when I say sit low, I mean sit as far down, only as far down until you start to feel some stretch in the right outer hip. Okay. Let your knee, keep your outer ankle on your thigh, but bring your right knee up a little, so that will take the stretchy feeling out. And then make a little basket with your hands. Scoop up your right knee. And then drive your right knee in towards your hands as you re-sink your hips down. So again, you're just using your hands as something to push into so that you can engage your outer hip muscles. Makes it way harder. So stay with that just for one more breath and then come out of it. 2 feet on the floor, arms by your sides. Then just one half sun salutation to reconnect with breath. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up, reach through your ring fingers. Exhale, hands to heart center. Step your feet together. Inhale, lift your left knee in towards your chest. Take your left outer ankle to your right thigh. Bend your standing leg. You're sitting into this figure four. Then once you get into where you feel some stretch, pause, and then bring your knee up a little. Use your hands to scoop it up, and then push. Press your knee down into your hands as you squat your right leg and your hips back any amount. Good, take that for one more inhalation. Exhale, left hand or left foot to the floor, hands in prayer. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat, step to plank. Inhale and plank, push the ground away. Exhale, lower your knees, lower all the way to the floor. Airplane your arms behind you. Then inhale, lift everything up. Locust pose. Stay with locust. Think about growing longer through the whole body. Exhale all the way down, hands under your shoulders. Inhale, press up to your knees. Exhale, press your hips back to your heels, child's pose. Good, take a full deep inhalation in through your nose. Then all the way out through your mouth. Inhale, bring yourself up to all fours. And then transition onto your back. Bend your knees. Take your feet as wide as your hips. Inhale, fill up your chest. Press the outer edges of your shoulders down. And then as you exhale, draw your lower belly in towards your low back just a little, and then lift your hips up into bridge pose. Good. You can keep your hands by your side, or you can interlace them underneath your pelvis. Just try to feel a feeling of broadness across the chest, grounding in the feet, grounding in the outer shoulders. Good. Stay with that breathe in. Engage your glutes to lift your pelvis up. And then exhale, lower your hips back to the mat. Walk the soles of your feet towards each other, sole to sole, and then let your knees open wide. Pause and take a few grounding breaths in reclined bound ankle pose. With your heels, press in towards each other. With the inseam of your legs, try to lengthen. Good. Bring your knees back up, feet to the floor. And then take your right outer ankle to your left thigh again. Draw your left knee in towards your chest, but keep your hands out of this for a moment. In fact, take your arms into a cactus shape. Take your right foot, so that's the one that's on your left outer or your left thigh. Rotate your hips and your legs so that your right foot is on the floor. Left outer hip is on the floor. And then with your left hand, hold your right ankle. Good. From here, with your hand, help ground your right foot into the floor as you press your right knee away from your left shoulder. And then any amount, turn your chest towards the right. Good. In this position, it's really easy to collapse the left knee in, push it away, unless that feels weird on your lower back, in which case, don't do that part. Now, as you pause here for a moment, concentrate on what your breath feels in each side of your waist. See if you can create a feeling of evenness in your left side body and your right side body. Good. To come out of it, let your right knee come in a little, come down towards the floor a little, and then bring everything back up to center. Take your right foot to the floor. Take your left outer ankle to your right thigh. Pull your right knee in towards your chest. And then twist to the right from the hips down. So your left foot will be standing on the floor. Twist to the left from your shoulders. Then with your right hand, anchor your left foot into the floor. And then just like we've been pressing the outside of the knee into something all class, imagine there's a wall or something to press your left knee into as you turn and rotate from your ribs on up to the left. And then use your breath to try to create a feeling of evenness. steadiness and symmetry, even though that's not actually what's physically happening? Can you make the internal state feel even, steady, and symmetrical? Good. To come out of it, turn a little to the right. Let your knee collapse in a little so there's not so much tension in the twist. And then come back up to center. Good. Pull both knees into the chest. Wrap your arms around your shins. Rock side to side. And as you rock side to side, if it feels good to pause to the side and use the weight of your body and the contact with the floor to alleviate some tension in this left lower back, the right lower back. Just experiment with that. And come back to center as you breathe in. Release your legs long as you breathe out. Rest your arms by your sides. And just mentally to yourself, starting at the crown of your head and working down to the tips of your toes. See if you can consciously let go of any tension that you may not need. A little bit of tension is good. We actually need it to hold us together. So we don't want to vilify it. But as you lie here and breathe, if you find that you're gripping in your face or your shoulders, in your belly, in your hips, or even in your feet, see if you can instead communicate a feeling of relaxation, space, and of contentment. As you inhale, reach your arms up and overhead. Stretch through your fingers, stretch through your toes. And then bend your knees, step your feet in towards your hips. Roll off into a supported fetal position. Support your head with your arm. And then pause. Continue into your hands as you press yourself up to a seat with your eyes closed. Root down into your sitting bones. Lift through your spine. Just internally to yourself, say thank you for taking the time to take care of yourself. Thanks for practicing. See you soon.